Hello and welcome back to the A to Z of Football podcast. You have Alex the A and Zach the.
Zed.
And today we are excited. The Premier League is returning in 5 days. 5 days, that's all it is after like almost 3 months without no Premier League football. It's back.
It's exciting times. We are thrilled about it. Wednesday, the 17th of June.
I hope it's not.
We don't want
Don't
January.
say that. Don't say that.
17th of June on Wednesday. So this week we thought it'd be quite good to go through the first batch of games with our predictions, what we are expecting from these quite exciting fixtures. Actually, some big games in here.
Fixtures.
Some
big
big
fixtures.
games. And also we're going to have a little discussion about some transfer news. Talk about Sancho himself. Dortmund have recently given him a new price tag, which we will discuss. And also Chelsea have been busy and look like they are set to sign Timo Werner and these sort of players. So I think, Alex, shall we have a chat about transfers and then we can have a long discussion about the thing people are most interested about, Premier League.
That sounds good. And can I quickly just address as well? I'm wearing this cap not because I think it looks cool. It's just because my barnet's out of control. I'm just going to put that on the table right now.
I'm just rocking it, mate.
I've just got to get out on the open, all right? It's not a fashion statement or anything like that. I want a barber's back, and it's going to be another 2-3 weeks, and my hair's just going all over the place. So that's the reason for this this garment on me today. So just putting that out there early in case anything got misconstrued.
You're looking sound, bud. Don't worry.
Cheers, mate. Right, okay. So a bit of transfer talk first.
Yeah.
So let's go on to Sancho.
Yeah.
115 million is the price tag that Borussia Dortmund have put on him. First and foremost, that just in today's market, let's take out the whole impact that coronavirus could have on it. Before, let's say nothing gets changed with the value of players. Is that price worth it? Is it too much? Is it too little? What's your thoughts on that?
I think he's really risen to fame almost in the past sort of season or so, and I think he is a very, very talented player. I think they released the top 10 most valuable football players the other day, and Mbappe is at the top. Sancho, I think, second or third, and there's quite a few English players in there actually, which is always good to see.
Well, was it 3 out of the top 4 are English, right? We just Rashford, Sterling, Rashford, Alexander-Arnold, and
Sancho.
Sancho, yeah.
That's always good to see from our point of view. On Sancho himself, I think 150 million. Yes, I think it's probably fair. I wouldn't. If he was anything under 80 million, you'd kind of be asking questions, considering signings like Van Dijk or Harry Maguire, who are defenders, are getting paid much more. So he's young, he's very, very talented. And I think if you're going to bring him to the Premier League, a price tag like that seems pretty reasonable, to be honest. I think.
So,
I don't know what your thoughts are on it.
Yeah, well, I think the way I look at it is that Mbappe is, he's being projected to be, if he does go 200 mil plus, almost 220, 50 mil, whatever, ridiculous numbers. And the way I look at it, in the French league, he's not doing that far better than Sancho's doing in a much tougher league. Sancho's statistics this season are incredible for not even a striker, for a winger. But that needs to be put into context. And Mbappe's saying a striker. And look, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Sancho is better than Mbappe, because I think Mbappe is just a generational talent. However, if we're saying, people are saying that Mbappe is worth over 200 mil, 220, 250, then Sancho, of course he's worth that. And also he's 20, was he? No, 19? I think 19.
He might have turned 20.
I think actually he's just turned 20, you're right. Yeah. But that means he's still got probably 12,
it's always
13
depressing
years.
when I say that, because it's sort of like
I
that's
know.
sort of our age, and we're
And we're talking about it. Like, where's our recognition there? But anyway, no, it's. I think you have to. You just have to realize, like, because the thing is, I think people are careful about, especially being English. We've hyped up a lot of young players over the years.
Yeah.
That have over the course of their career not really come to anything much. So I think a lot of English fans in particular are trying to be cautious in the way that they value him, and then they don't want to sort of put too much pressure on him. But if you are just looking at the stats and statistics, like, he's playing in probably the second, third toughest league in Europe and producing the numbers he is and at the age he is, then.
So, yeah, I completely agree with you. I think there's always been this shift in the attitude of English fans now, in that we obviously want to hype up and inspire younger players, but we're almost wary. We almost want them just wait a little bit, because we really want you to be like this star player when the time is right. And we can talk about, should he come to the Premier League sort of end of this season, start sort of that summer transfer window, and my answer to it is no. I think you need to be looking at January, maybe transfer season, or sort of end of next season, for him to really think about it. I mean, he's such a standout player in the Bundesliga. I think if he stayed there, Dortmund could quite easily win a couple of things next season. He hit his first hat trick only a couple of weeks ago.
He did.
Which was just amazing to watch. I haven't seen an English winger, maybe apart from Raheem Sterling, do things like that for a while. And it was.
Well,
really
the
good.
thing is, in the comparison with those two, I think it's a good point, in that you're right that Sterling at the moment, or certainly the last couple of years, he has produced goals at club level, and unexpectedly, it's fair to say, but he was producing goals. But the difference between Sterling and Sancho is not a criticism of Sterling whatsoever, but he's Pep Guardiola's instilled a system into those like Aguero, Bernardo Silva's, De Bruyne's. They play such brilliant football between them that Sterling almost doesn't need to be blistering on the wing to get his goals, because the play is so intricate and brilliant between the front four that he just gets goals wherever. But I feel like with Sancho, he creates his own goals almost, and the way he gets his goals, he's always cutting in and curling, or like going past defenders. So it's a sorry, I've gone off a bit of a tangent there in a debate, but yeah. I think it's worth noting that I think Sancho creates his goals a bit more than Sterling. Sterling's a really good goal poacher, and you've got to say that's a brilliant attribute to have. But I think if you're comparing the two, that's right. Stand on it.
With that, final question on Sancho, bringing it back. Obviously, Dortmund have set their price. Which club is going to be willing to pay it?
I mean, obviously you can't look past the obvious. Man United's they've always had money, always traditionally bought good English players at a young age. I mean, if Sancho would be a perfect project player for them to buy, to try and get them back to the top. Then obviously you're looking at Liverpool. Obviously just lost out on Werner. I mean, obviously different players in respective positions, but still a real, obviously it'll be a massive statement signing.
Yeah.
And then you're almost I can't really see anyone else apart from the two. Maybe you would have said Chelsea maybe, but the way they're going in the transfer market suggests that they wouldn't be eyeing Sancho as well. So then after Liverpool and Man U, you're almost looking to possibly Spain, Barcelona, or Real Madrid, which I don't think would be good for his development.
That's a bad idea for young players, in my opinion.
I agree.
I think you have to go to those clubs in your prime. I think the only person you could say who's actually done the opposite of that is Messi, but Messi's always been at Barcelona.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit of a difference. Well, what about you? Where do you think you'd like to see him go if he had to move to?
It's really annoying because I think looking at the other transfers Chelsea have done, and looking at the way teams are going, if you went to say Liverpool, it wouldn't work. Their front three is so
that's the thing,
polished
isn't it?
in a sense
they
that
don't
it would,
need to strengthen in that area.
yeah.
You're right.
I think somewhere like Man City, you just get lost. Somewhere like Chelsea, I actually thought would be a better suit for him.
So did I.
But now they've come in with Werner and obviously Mason, Chelsea's in its own little young project anyway. So
yeah.
I think if Sancho came in, it might like taint it a little bit. And
derail it.
for that reason, I think if you're looking at a team that's trying to rebuild, get back to to fulfill their legacy as a squad, Man United is probably the best place for him to go.
Yeah, I agree, and it's a big move because obviously they're the biggest club in England, possibly in the world. Like globally, they're a huge club, so it'll be a big move for him. But in a way, it will almost be the not going when they're at the top. I think if he went when they're at the top, would heap more pressure on him. But being where they are now, he could almost go into it and relax a bit and know that he doesn't have to. He can have it, take his time, hit his heights at a later stage. So I think we're in agreement. I think Man United would be a great move for him.
Absolutely.
I'd like to have another season at Dortmund.
Absolutely, completely agree with you. He has another season to leave his legacy in Germany behind, and then move to a squad which is rebuilding in itself in the Premier League. With that, how did you take the news that Chelsea swooped in and stole Werner from under Liverpool's noses?
Chelsea, suddenly out of the blue, they're going on an emotional roller coaster with their fans, like in a good way, not a scary one, a fun, enjoyable one. Like, so obviously, look, Werner. The thing is, I don't get about Werner is why is his price tag so low? His goal record in the Bundesliga is unbelievable. He's got 25 goals in I think every season so far. Already on I think 25 this season, and he's only about 50 million. Like Newcastle spent 40 million on Joel Linton. West Ham spent 45 on Sebastian Haller. You're spending 10 mil more to get
it's pennies, isn't it? Really,
scorer.
It's pennies for a clinical striker.
I just don't get it. I don't really know his contract situation, so that might be me not knowing enough about it. But it just seems brilliant. The only sort of qualms I have with this transfer is I'm a big fan of Tammy Abraham, and he this season, I'll admit I didn't back him to get 12 goals. You know, like I didn't, or however many goals he's got, 13 maybe. He's really taken the burden of being a top 6 striker that's starting every game, and he's done really well with it. Now, what I hope doesn't happen with this, which I fear it might, that Werner comes in and Tammy Abraham suddenly just a bench warmer.
Sure.
That's so just from a personal standpoint of Chelsea's development, I think it's great for Chelsea, but in the long run, is it a fantastic move? I'm not sure. What do you think about it?
I think Werner is a fantastic fit for Chelsea, especially with them rebuilding and stuff.
Yeah.
There's one thing that worries me about Werner is he's always been a bit outshined by obviously Belgium international, a bench warmer for his country. Some would argue with Lukaku and Hazard.
Oh, he's German. He's German.
Is he German? I thought he was in the Belgium squad.
No.
Am I thinking of someone else? Anyway,
you're lockdown Kenty, mate. It's all right.
Anyway, I worry about Werner in the Premier League anyway, because maybe that's why his price tag's so low. I don't know. He's amazing, absolutely clinical. I worry that the Premier League might be a bit of a swamp. You know, he might sort of get a bit stuck, especially. With Chelsea rebuilding in the way that they are, is he too big? Is he like a big fish in a little pond?
Yeah,
sort of thing at the moment.
It's a good point. Like, because obviously, I think the fact that he's playing for a team like RB Leipzig is helping him a lot. I have to say, because obviously they're not a club enriched with history. And the same point I made about Sancho, isn't it? A player that plays without pressure is when the player plays best. Like that. That's just that just, I think it implies to all players, because there's no burden on the shot. They can be free. They can be the player they want to be. Coming into a team like Chelsea that will pretty much, with the signings they make, automatically expect results. Like they're not this. I mean, the waves they're making in this transfer market, or the waves that they look like they're making, is not a team that wants just to settle for fourth again. They want to get back to the top, and they want to get back to the top quickly. Is Werner? I mean, I guess the thing, the point is trying to make. Obviously, he's only done it in the German league so far, but then you have to take that punt on players. You can't hold that against him because he hasn't had the chance to prove it yet. Yeah. So, look, I think that you won't speak to anyone and say this is a bad signing. You're paying too much for him. No. 55 mil for Werner, in my opinion, is an absolute snip.
I am excited by it. I hope he can sort of hit the ground running with it. It is a good buy for Chelsea, but there obviously are concerns with him only really showing in German football, and Chelsea's sort of rebuild and what they're sort of going towards with Tammy Abraham maybe potentially getting losing his place in the squad, which is something that no one really wants to see as an Englishman. But Chelsea in the transfer, they're doing great, also, aren't they?
Kai Havertz as well. Suddenly out the blue, Kai Havertz, who's been branded as this 100, like obviously it's all paper talk, but over the last year or so, branded as 120 mil, 130 mil signing. Suddenly looking at, I think the rumours are 75 mil, or they've made agreements or something or other. It was Sky Sports, so it's got to be legit. That they've made contact with him, and they want him to come along with Werner. Now, I think if they got both of these guys, let me just look up how old Kai Havertz is. But if they came in as a duo, imagine what that would do for both of them respectively. Absolutely. 2 young guys only playing Bundesliga football, coming over together to play for the same team. Look, he's only 21. I didn't even realise he was that young. He's 21. He's one of the most sought after young footballers, German footballer. 2 young German footballers. I think both of them coming together would be a real coup. But again, the problem is Mason Mount. Mason Mount's done really well to get into the position he has in the Chelsea team. He stepped up. And would this just be pushing these 2 guys out?
I think if we look at it in that sense, I think these signings do give Chelsea that sort of those options, those alternative options, when there's injuries and things like this. And I'm not saying anyone will be a bench warmer, because I think you can probably integrate them into that squad. And I think, older players, well, actually, I don't know how old Jorginho is. I don't think he's that old. But sort of the more mature players who've had experiences playing for Napoli and Chelsea for a couple of seasons now, I think you can sort of combine and mix around, and I think it's an exciting squad to see. I think, talking about teams that have been big in the transfer window, I think Chelsea are definitely up there. Obviously, Man U, Man City, Liverpool make the news sometimes, but Chelsea have made the biggest move so far, and it's quite exciting to see.
It's also worth mentioning Hakim Ziyech as well. Like we haven't, he's already done and signed, and I think he's going to be a revelation. Like some of the stuff he's done with eyes, obviously it's a poorer league, but I think seeing what he did against them in the Champions League, etc. I think he's going to be a star as well.
He's a standout. They've definitely got the options there and the ability to keep growing, and the Premier League looks exciting. It looks very
Chelsea,
exciting.
10 out of 10 for you guys.
10 out of 10 for Chelsea. I never thought I'd say that, but there we go.
No, it must be hard. It must be hard.
It had sort of gagged a little bit, but it's fine. With that, though, with Chelsea and other teams looking very exciting, we still need to finish this season, Alex. So let's have the long discussion now about the first week of the return of Premier League football.
I can't wait. I actually can't wait. Like, this is so weird because obviously I'm not like obviously I'm looking forward to the start of a new season always, but this feels different because we need this. Like football fans need this. Sorry, it sounds a bit cliche to say, but with a new season starting, you know the start date way in advance. The other season's finished. You start a new one. That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
But this is unforeseen. No one ever saw this happening, and now that it's finally scheduled, it's back. TV games are all sorted out. It's I can't wait. I can't wait.
And I think this is even more exciting because we're sort of in that sort of end push stage, and now it's restarting again. It's like a mini start to a tiny mini tournament of the season where we know that everything's on the line, everything's up for grabs. Maybe not the Premier League trophy, but these important positions are. And relegation battle is still key to what next season will look like. So we've got 12 games that we want to talk about. The first 12 games of the return of this season. And I think if we just go through them one by one, Alex, make our judgments and see how we think people are going to get on. The first game back of Premier League, not that exciting a game, but maybe it is. Aston Villa versus Sheffield United.
An absolute cracker. That's what all the fans across the world are going to be pinned to. Aston Villa, Sheffield United. Sorry, I'm waffling, but it is, in all honesty, it is a very important game for both sides, respectively, and what they want to do in the season. Aston Villa, obviously, of course, in the relegation zone currently, looking to stay up. Let me just get the table up. But the thing is with Sheffield United is that do they actually want European football? Because this happened to Burnley. We've got the 7th place. We're all ecstatic about it. We're going on the European tour. This is going to be great. We didn't even get into the group stages. And that's even those three away legs and 3 Thursday night fixtures. It really messed with us. And for at least 5 months in the season up until December, like it really is a big. It's a huge thing. And for Sheffield United, currently there's no way they have the squad to get European football, in my opinion. No way.
This is a very good point, and I think a lot of people sort of get caught up in the magic of it sometimes, don't they? As well, we saw, like you say, we saw what European football did for Burnley. It really hindered you in many ways because you're a smaller squad, and you didn't have the sort of the legs to do it. You were playing European football sort of every Tuesday, every Thursday to try and get into the group stages, and that will be the same for Sheffield United. And Sheffield United are arguably even smaller squad than Burnley are in terms of numbers and in terms of funding. So, I think it's a really interesting game because you've got Aston Villa who really need to start winning. Aston
Villa, this is their game in hand. So we're getting there's 2 fixtures on the Wednesday that they're getting out. So Aston Villa are 2 points outside the relegation zone. If they win, that will take them up to 16th. So then two places above. So, and the interesting thing about this as well is that I think both of these teams are going to suffer greatly from the lack of home support, from the lack of fans in the stadium. They're both 2 teams that like to make a home fixture really nasty, really opposing for the other team. So I'm not sure. I'll put in my prediction. I think this is going to be a 1-1, a cagey 1-1.
I can imagine the first Premier League game back being quite a cagey one, quite a boring game of to watch. I can't see loads of goals in.
I can't see fireworks. No,
can't see fireworks. I think I've said quite a lot on this podcast that when games do come back, it's not going to be about fan mentality. It's not going to be about support. It's going to be about which team plays better football. And this season, Sheffield United have arguably played better football, but was that just fan mentality or was it something else? And
there you go. Well, I mean, you can't knock them because obviously their away records very, very good as well. So like that's obviously something that you have to give credit to them for. So I think, but I do just think this will affect them. And selfishly I wanted to because I got a £50 bet with my friend that Burnley wouldn't finish above them. So fingers crossed it affects them. But being unbiased, I'm calling a 1-1 on this game. What about you?
I'm going to go 2-2. Let's say there's some goals.
Oh,
We'll go 2-2.
Aston Villa's defensive record is shocking to be fair. So
Yeah,
it's not the.
I think there'll be some goals because the return of Premier League, we don't want it to be a 0-0, and I don't think any of those players do either. So I think it will be quite far. I think even though it's almost quite a lackluster game in terms of the teams that are there, I think they'll want to go out and impress and give people the thing they want to. Yeah. But I think ultimately they're both two sides which aren't that strong really. I know Sheffield United have done well this season, but they're not like strong in terms of a big, what we consider a top 6 side. So it will be a draw. There will be some goals, but it will just be a draw, and these two won't really benefit from this game at all, I don't think. Next game, moving on, a bigger game now. We've got Manchester City versus Arsenal.
Man City, Arsenal. It's a really interesting one, this, because Man City, realistically, don't have anything to play for. They've pretty much already secured Champions League and second, maybe not second, but I mean, if they didn't secure Champions League now, then it'll be awful. And I can't see that happening. So Man City didn't really have a lot to play for, which could play into their hands. Arsenal do. They still have an outside chance of getting in the top 4 or 5. Obviously, we're still to hear about Man City's hearing and whether their ban from the Champions League will be upheld. So it could be top 5. Like who knows what's going to happen with that? I think Man City. I don't want to fall into the cliche, but there's not a massive amount of atmosphere at their stadium already, so I don't think playing behind closed doors will affect them too much. But that could be me looking into it a little bit too far. The thing is, Arsenal have done well under Arteta. There's no doubt that they've looked a bit more solid. He's got Lacazette firing again. Obviously, Aubameyang's he's always done well, and now from what I gather, they've got a fully fit squad. So it's a tricky one. I just think you can't look past Man City. Like I think a 3.
Yeah, I think
a 3-1 is my prediction for this in favour to Man City.
Well, that's quite a favourable prediction, isn't it?
It is. But I just Arsenal don't show up to big games. It's just what happens. I don't think they've won an away game at a top 6 club since like 2015. Something ridiculous like that. They just don't. And if Arteta can change that for them, then that'll be obviously fantastic. It's a big mentality thing. But I just can't see it happening.
I think Man City fully fit versus a fully fit Arsenal. A fully fit Man City are going to walk all over them. Really, they have a stronger squad. They've got stronger speed, passing. Yeah. They've just got the players, and I think I think Arsenal are going to be one of these teams that sort of go, oh, we've got loads to play for, but we don't really know how to cope with that pressure. We're playing against Man City first game. Why did we get these lot? And I reckon they'll lose 2-0. That's what I'm going for.
Fair play.
Norwich, Southampton.
Right. This is sort of this is one of those games which, as normally I wouldn't even think about turning it on, but because it's there and I've watched football so long, I probably will.
Exactly.
It's Norwich at home. Like they have shown a bit of fight in before lockdown. Obviously, this is the other thing. Obviously, 3-month break. No one knows how teams are going to come back. If they're going to carry on, if they're going to lost all momentum, whatever. Norwich did show a little bit of sign of fighting and grit just before going in, like beating Leicester. I remember at home in a 1-0 win. So, and Southampton actually were in pretty dire form going into lockdown. But they're 7 points clear of the relegation zone, I believe. I don't think there's any threat of relegation for them realistically. They need probably another win or another 2. And I think, you know what, I've been slating Norwich on this channel. I'm willing to admit that. Any Norwich fans, I sincerely apologise. But this is your moment. I'm backing you. I'm backing the Canaries.
Where are Norwich? They've got 21 points, don't they?
So they are bottom of the table, 21 points. 6 points outside. Yeah, only 6 points outside the relegation zone. Stranger things have happened.
Stranger things have happened.
I think. You know what?
Do you think we might get a Norwich that we had at the start of the season, which everyone went? Pukey's
Here
going
we
to
go.
be
Here's
golden
what's going to happen.
boot.
Timu Pukey is going to score an absolute worldie of a hat trick. He's going to score a left foot, a right foot, and a header. It's going to happen.
See,
And
I'm sort of conflicted.
Danny Ings will get one as well.
I'm
So
conflicted
3-1.
about this because now that I've said that, I was going to say maybe Norwich kind of lost, kind of over lockdown, kind of went, oh, we're kind of stuffed, lads, sort of thing, and they sort of kind of gave up. They kind of been 20, they could be bottom of that table majority of the time. But I think they're fighting them. I honestly do. And
I do.
Southampton have had some good games this season, and I do rate. I like Southampton in the Premier League. I think they deserve to be in it, and they've done well to sort of get themselves where they are. And I think Norwich might come out all guns blazing, and I think they may do that for a few teams. And I think Southampton probably get goal in there, but I think 3-1. That's it.
3-1. We're both
3-1 to Norwich. I honestly, even though Norwich have struggled, and they haven't been that good this season at all, I think Southampton have less of a risk. So therefore, them sort of coming out and sort of getting used to sort of football and stuff. Norwich are going to be on it. They're going to be like, right, we've got everything to fight for, and I think they'll do that with whether the fans are there or not. And I'm really quite actually excited to see what that will turn out like.
There we go.
This is the game I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Cool.
Tottenham versus Manchester United.
Huge game. This is a massive game.
This is a 6-pointer.
It is. If Man United win this, how many points have Man United ahead of you? Let's have a look. They are
4, I think.
They are Tottenham. Yeah, so they're 4 points ahead of you. If you win this game, you're right back in the hunt for top 4. Yeah. There's no denying it. Chelsea just seem to be like before lockdown over. They seem to slip up. They seem to have an easy defeat in them, and this is a big opportunity for you guys. Having said that, Man United coming into this again, it's form's all out the window, but it's what we've got to go on. The 4 games leading up to the lockdown, they looked really good. Like Bruno Fernandes was pulling strings. Bruno Fernandes looked really good coming in from the Portuguese league.
We got that battle now. We got Lo Celso versus Fernandes.
That'll be a good point actually. That's a very good point. Look, so you've got that battle, and the thing that you have now that you didn't have, you've got Son back, you've got Kane back, you've got Sissoko back, you've got Bergwijn back. I know he was only injured in the last couple of games, but he was out as well, right? So you've got big game players back in. Son and Harry Kane, like they turn up for you in big games. More often than not.
Yeah.
So, and I actually think you will be one of the teams to benefit from playing in a.
The way I see it, if you look at it like a sort of motivation meter, Manchester United were on a massive high before this, and Tottenham were on a massive low. We had no players, we had no strikers really. I think Dele Alli was playing as our number 9, or at one point, and point out Dele Alli can't actually play this match. He's got 1 match suspension, but that'll be fine. And we were really struggling. We had no players fit. We were sort of putting these random teams together just to fill the gaps. Manchester United, complete opposite. Obviously, both teams coming in fully fit, but I think there's been a massive shift in the Tottenham camp. They've been training literally every day throughout this, whether it be virtually or eventually on the ground. And from what I've seen, they look really raring to go. And but then Manchester United, they've got a strong team. I know I slate them sometimes, but they do have a strong young team, Man United, and I think this is a massive game. Absolutely
This is big because if Man United win, suddenly, I mean, it depends obviously what happens with Chelsea, but if they keep that momentum up, I've no doubt that Chelsea are going to drop points at some point, and obviously Man United might drop points here and there, but in the big games, I just think Man United might pip it, and it's whether Chelsea can hold that 3-point buffer. But if you win it, then I'm sure you can get back in it, because I think this first game as well in this whole new environment, I think is going to be so important
Mm-hmm.
for the confidence of the team. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can take that game and you can use it to motivate you for other games. But if you lose it, then suddenly thoughts. Oh well, what is this? What is that?
The way I see it, if Man United win, I feel like they're quite solid there now. They'll kind of just carry on. And they'll get fifth or fourth. If Tottenham win it, it carries on that. Who wants it? Who wants it more? It involves all teams still, because we call it a 6-pointer, but we'll still be behind Man United even if we win. It'll only be by a point, but and that's just, it closes the gap. It brings the other teams up with us. So it just allows that excitement to carry on. I think if Man United win and they win comfortably, I think I'm going to be down by that, obviously because Tottenham would have lost, but also because it's sort of just, oh, that's the end of that race then. And they're both really strong teams coming in with fully fit squads, but I think Tottenham are going to pip it.
Score
2-1.
I'm going to go 2-2. I'm going to go 2-2. I can't pick a winner because I think both will be full of confidence and both will play good football. So I'm going to go 2-2.
2-1 with an injury time winner.
Oh, how sweet would that be for you? How sweet.
That's what I'm saying.
That'll be football returning with
there's
a bang.
Going to be
right.
This is a big game. There's going to be drama, and there's going to be this game is when football came back. This is the game I'm calling. Football came back.
Wow, that's a bold call, my friend. That's a bold call.
Okay. Watford versus
Leicester. Watford are in a tough place themselves, aren't they? Let's have a look at where Watford are. So Watford is 17th. They're outside the relegation zone on goal or by 1 goal difference. So they're minus 17 to Bournemouth minus 18. You know what? I really don't have faith in Watford because they had the manager bounce in Nigel Pearson, which I think I talked about in maybe the 3rd, 4th episode we did of this. They're the manager bounce in Nigel Pearson where he comes in and suddenly they start getting results and they're looking at a much better side. But I think he's not the person that can keep that going and keep that energy up. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he might prove me wrong. But he doesn't strike me as that type of manager. And he's obviously had a bounce. I mean, they were in an awful position. He's got them to where they are, and he's done really well with that. I don't think they're going to be able to carry it on. And I think Leicester, although they had a bit of they tailed off a little bit towards the end of the in the few matches before lockdown, they've got a fully fit squad again. They've got Vardy, they've got Tielemans, they've got Perez. Like they do ooze class, and I think Brendan Rodgers, the break came at a right time for them. And I mean, obviously it's a big break for everyone, but I think it came at a right time for them because they're in 3rd place. We forget that Leicester are in 3rd place. Like that's a huge achievement for them if they could hang on to Champions League football. So I think Leicester will have too much for Watford in this game.
I agree. I think Leicester, they're a really strong squad. I think Watford are going to struggle. I think it will be similar to when the season started. They will sort of have really, really poor games, and they're definitely going to be in that relegation battle. Whether they get relegated or not is a different matter. We'll just have to see, because I think there's some other teams in there which I think are really going to do poorly, and we'll get onto one of them in a minute.
I'm going 3-1 Leicester.
But yeah, I think Leicester, they're going to be really, really strong. I think their Champions League spot is pretty secure, but they'll want to keep pushing and really solidify that position of 3rd or even 2nd, depending how Manchester City do. And with that, I'm going to go 4-0 thrashing.
Whew. Bit of a Vardy party, so get the
WKVs out. I think it's going to be a Vardy party. It's going to be a Vardy party.
WKV.
Well, okay. Right. Is it Brighton Arsenal next? So we've got another Arsenal game.
Obviously Arsenal shocking away traditionally. In the
I
last
don't think that will. I don't think that is any element to really consider.
I know. Look, Arsenal are a tricky one because they have done well since Arteta came in. I think they're unbeaten in 2020 in the Prem, but a lot of them are draws, so I'm not sure you can read too much into that. They have done well. I think Brighton just don't strike me as a team that have much character. You look at Aston Villa, and you can say, yeah, they've been shocking this season, but they've had moments, they've had sparks where you can tell that they really, really want it. And I think, I don't know if I get that same sort of attitude with Brighton. That might just be because the managers, like Graham Potter's quite a chill, but he likes his team just to play the football. He likes to chill back. But
I always feel like Brighton sort of just plod along. They sort of plodded along this season. They're sort of in a okay position, but they're not safe by any means.
No, they're on 29 points, but that's still only 2 points outside the relegation zone. Arsenal will, I think, obviously having a crowd will really help Arsenal over the 9 games, as we talked about at Man City. I think the pressure of no crowd at the Emirates and don't have to worry, because I think Arsenal, they crumble under pressure. So not having the fans, like being away and having these fans getting on their backs and stuff, will actually help them. So I'm gonna. They've got a fully fit squad. And I think they've got a system now where Lacazette's up top, Pepe's on the right, Özil's playing his traditional position in the middle, and Aubameyang on left wing, which obviously is a bit of an odd choice, but he's done well there so far. So I'm gonna say 2-1 Arsenal, but not confidently. It's either a 1-1 or a 2-1, I think.
So for me, I think Arteta will do really good for Arsenal in sort of the long run.
Yeah, I agree.
Sort of build that squad. He obviously played for Arsenal himself. He gets the sort of energy of that team.
Philosophy of the club. Yeah,
absolutely. But the thing is with Brighton, I'm not confident in them at all. They're sort of plodded along. I think they'll get caught out. I think they're really going to be in this relegation battle, even though they're sort of just stayed out of it so far this season. I think they're going to get chucked right into the deep end with it, sort of like we saw at the end of last season. With that, though, they like to pull weird results out of the bag sometimes. And I think no crowd is more of a benefit to Arsenal than it is Brighton. But there's something about I never feel confident in Arsenal. I know I'm a Spurs fan, and I know, but like just putting that aside for a minute, they always sort of. I feel the same about Tottenham, to be honest. I'm never quite confident enough. I think the Tottenham game will play a factor into it, because if Tottenham don't win that Man U game, Arsenal will have the want to get above Tottenham.
Yeah.
And if Tottenham do win that game, then they'll have the want to try and catch up with them and keep up with them. I think Arsenal will win, but only just 1-0.
Oh yeah, but the thing is, clean sheets for Arsenal don't come by too often. That's the only thing I have with Arsenal. But
maybe a 1-0. I don't know. 1-0, 1-0. I'm not sure.
It's a really tricky one to predict. But yeah, let's go. You said 1-0. I'm saying 2-1. Let's stick with that, and then we can react to that after the games. Right. West Ham Wolves, the battle of the W's.
West Ham have to win this. West Ham have to win.
The famous classic. Yes, West Ham do have to win this. I agree that West Ham need Premier League football. Like, I don't think people, like, the amount of money they've invested first into the squad, like with Fornals, with Haller, like spending 45 mil on Haller. I don't think that gets recognised enough. Like similarly to Joe Linton, like they spent a lot on the club and so much on the stadium. Well, I'm not spending much on the stadium, but being in that huge stadium and moving down to the Championship, they'd lose so many of their key players. The stadium will be half empty when fans are allowed back in. They need to stay in the Premier League. It's vital for them as a club.
Completely agree.
Too.
I think West Ham have always been that squad that have always tried to reach their heights before they could walk. They could always try. They always tried to run before they could walk, and that's really hindered them this season, especially. You've noticed it.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just going to interrupt and
say
go. When they bought the stadium or moved into the London Stadium, the Olympic Stadium, I was quite interested in this at the time, and I remember Karen Brady, one of the owners, is it, or directors, said a world-class stadium for a world-class team. A classic is like, that got West Ham fans furious, because it's clear they clearly weren't a world-class team. They were clearly just doing it for publicity, to build their brand across the world, maybe. And since, you're right, they've tried to reach too far before just establishing themselves as what they think they are. They this is the thing. They're always they're a step behind what they think they are. They think they're an established Premier League team. It's like, right, now we've hit that, let's try and push for Europe. But instead, they're a struggling Premier League team pushing for Europe when they just want to be establish themselves as a mid-table team in a new environment.
Completely agree.
Having said that, I think the fact that they were playing in an empty stadium will probably help them. I mean, obviously, famously, it's not a fantastic atmosphere at the London Stadium, and they possibly overall some bad memories, obviously, with the protests that happened against the Sullivans and stuff, Sullivan and goal. So I think it's a tricky one because obviously I really, really rate Wolves, and Wolves want European football. They've proved this season that they can handle both. They've proved like they're in the last 16 of the Europa League and doing fantastically well in the Prem. I'm going to go with a draw though, because West Ham do have a few talented players. They'll want it, and I'm going to go with a entertaining 2-2.
Oh, that's a good result. I'd enjoy that game. That was a 2-2. I think we've really established that West Ham need to stay in the Premier League. They're a big team, you know.
They are.
If West Ham aren't in the Premier League, it feels a bit odd. I always feel like it does when they've been in the Championship in past years. Yeah, and I think David Moyes saved them before. Maybe he can save them again. I don't know. Maybe that's a one-trick pony in that sense. I think I'm going to go draw as well. Wolves have been amazing, absolutely incredible. Past 2 seasons, they haven't dropped in form at all, really. And I think it'll be quite a slow game. I think Wolves' first game back, same for West Ham. I think it's going to be quite a slow game, sort of suss out what's going on and sort of get used to it. I think West Ham, if they got a point from it, probably be happy with it. Obviously, still in the relegation battle, clearly, but they'll probably be confident with their other games. You know, they've got Tottenham their second game, and West Ham always beat Tottenham for some reason. So I'm going to agree with you. 1-1 draw.
Okay, a draw for that one. Right, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace.
Bournemouth have to win this. Bournemouth have to win this game. There's so many games in this first load of fixtures where teams have to win them.
And that's actually a good point, isn't it? Because I think Bournemouth have... I should have double-checked this before, but I think Bournemouth have... The rest of their games are really, really tough. I think they've got I think 4 of their 9 games are against top 6 sides.
They're going to struggle. They've got to get as many points as they can.
You're right. Like, this is, at home to Crystal Palace, like, it's not a game that frightens you. It's almost the perfect game to have back after lockdown. Like, you're not fighting one of your relegation rivals, but you're not up against a top 6 club. It's one of those sort of 4 or 5 in the middle where they're pretty much safe already, don't have much to play for. So, more than likely might not turn up the best they can be.
With Crystal Palace, they never win at home. They always get like 1-0 wins away and things like this. Whenever I do the Super 6 or something, if it's Crystal Palace game, I go 1-0 Crystal Palace. If they're not at home, I go 1-0 Crystal Palace. Because that's probably and I think that's the result this will be as well. I think...
Ooh, interesting.
Crystal Palace have been pretty slow and pretty steady in that and getting the 1-0 wins and the draws and stuff. Bournemouth have to come out all guns blazing. I think they're fully fit. Most squads are. Eddie Howe, does he have the battle to do it? Bournemouth haven't really been this big a relegation battle, really.
No, they've always had they've always had signs of it. They've always had little chinks in their season where we're getting dragged into a relegation battle here, and then they just pull a couple results out of the bag, and suddenly they're back to where they want to be, i.e. just mid-table. But I think I agree with you, actually. I don't think Bournemouth will have what it takes to stay up this season. And I agree with you. I actually think it's going to be a 2-1 Crystal Palace.
Okay.
A 2-1 Crystal Palace, yeah. Because Crystal Palace are a weird team. They could beat Man United away one week and then lose to Norwich at home next. So you never really know what's going to happen with them.
Yeah,
but,
I think again this will be quite a slow game. by slow teams.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bournemouth have to win it, but I think Bournemouth haven't got the legs. I don't know why, but Bournemouth don't fill me with confidence, and for that reason, it'll be a 1-0 Crystal Palace win, I think.
Okay.
Newcastle, Sheffield United. Sheffield United's second game, obviously. They played their first game in hand.
I think Newcastle will be a team that will be affected a lot by the lack of crowd. Obviously, a really good atmosphere at St James's. Whatever situation they're in, they've always got fantastic support. Newcastle have been a weird team this season because they've not really had a standout performer. Like their 40-million star striker Joe Linton has flopped. They haven't really got a sense of place, but somehow they've done okay. They're sort of mid-table, which is a fantastic result for them overall. So I think this is going to be another. I don't want to. Yeah, I think it's just going to be another draw. I can't see either of them really needing to win, or sort of. I mean, maybe Sheffield United, but they it's traditionally a way that they don't go all out attack. It'll be quite an even game.
I think this is where the football comes in, because I think Sheffield United, as I mentioned at the start of these fixtures, have been pushed and backed by their fans along the way, and of course fans will be watching from around the country and supporting them on, but it's not the same as being physically there.
Of course not.
And Newcastle will be massively affected by a lack of crowd, and I think these I would put them on the same sort of caliber of type of team. Newcastle, Sheffield United, they're pretty good. They can get some results, but they're quite mid-table really in the way they play, and I think they got quite sort of basic football, especially with Steve Bruce as your manager. So I think I'm thinking a draw. I'm actually going to go 0-0, which is really boring.
That's the more I think.
But there's going to be a 0-0 at some point. There always is. So.
No, you're right. The more I think about it, the more actually I think I'm gonna back Sheffield United, because I can't sort of disregard what they've shown this season. Time again they've surprised us, and they've gone away and they've nicked 1-0s, they've nicked 2-1s, they've nicked results. And Newcastle pretty much safe already. Like they're in around that 35-point mark, I believe, so they're gonna stay up. Sheffield United are still playing for European football, which at the moment they want, and it's there for the taking. So actually, I'm going to go over 1-0 Sheffield United. I'll back the Blade. Why not?
Okay, we're coming into the final 3 games now. Some interesting games now, actually. Aston Villa playing their second game, obviously, in this fixture. Chelsea, they finally get their first game. Aston Villa versus Chelsea. Chelsea, we've talked quite a lot about already this afternoon. And I think they're going to come out young, fiery, ready to go. And I think Aston Villa really have to be prepared for this game.
Yeah. The thing is, though, this is the type of game that Chelsea, before the season was stopped, disliked. They weren't good at going away to these teams and picking up results. It was usually a draw or a loss. I think it all depends for Aston Villa what happens in their first game against Sheffield United. If they come out, look good, because they have been playing at some points this season really nice football. If they come out, play against Sheffield United and beat them, it will give them a whole new lease of confidence for this Chelsea game. Chelsea defensively haven't been fantastic this season. They've been okay. Attackingly, obviously, they've been very good with Abraham leading the line. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Chelsea. I think they'll just have enough attacking prowess.
Also, Chelsea, they got to really hold that 4th spot. They're really
That's true, actually. They've got a lot to play for as well.
And I think they're better than Aston Villa. They've proved that they are. I think Aston Villa, this game could be interesting because they both need to come out all guns blazing, because they both have important things to fight for. And I think Chelsea are a bit too much, and it will be their first game. Aston Villa would have already played a game, so we don't know what could have happened in that first match. So I think Chelsea are going to come out and win 3-1.
3-1, okay. So similar on that. Now,
Merseyside
derby.
Everton Liverpool.
Right.
Now this is interesting because Everton never win a Merseyside derby.
They never win. This is their best opportunity
Mm-hmm.
I think, of winning a Merseyside derby in a long time. Now, that might sound weird, but I've got a theory. Firstly, Ancelotti,
Mm-hmm.
he's come in and he's done really, really well with the squad he's had. He's got the best out of all his players and just galvanised the squad that at the point that he came in, we're in a relegation battle, and he's taken them up, and they're looking for European football. So that's one point. Everton, although they're not right up with the Man U's, and they still have a chance of European football and getting that sort of 7th, 6th spot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, Liverpool have been fantastic this season, and there's no denying that. They've been one of the best teams in Premier League history. I think the attitude of having it it's their title pretty much. I'm not sure if their attitude is going to be 100% dialed in. Now, it's controversial to say because obviously I get that Jurgen Klopp is a very good manager, but him and Liverpool thrive on being in atmospheres where they are really disliked, and they play with that, and they make it a positive. They turn the negative into a positive. With no fans, I think they might just get. I don't really know how to explain it, but
Do you think this is a tough one to call then? Because
I just have a theory that it's going to be a 1-1, and I don't know why. Like, I think obviously the majority will go Liverpool easy, and I would have said that, but coming into the break, they were in a bad bit of form. They had a big knock when they got knocked out of the Champions League. Everton are on the up. I don't know. I just feel like Liverpool play off being almost the pantomime villains this season, and they play off no one traditionally really likes them, and Everton are the underdog. I just think Everton will have such a tenacious attitude coming into this, fighting for something. Whereas, although Liverpool technically haven't won the league yet, in everyone's eyes they have. So I'm going for a 1-1. I'm not saying Liverpool will lose.
Now,
I'm saying
I think
it's going to be a 1-1.
I think Everton will come out the blocks, and I think that Ancelotti's had time to sort of get that attitude sort of fixated in their minds, and the way he wants them to play, and they've got some good players, Everton. There's no doubting that. I think though, you talked a little about Liverpool's attitude. I think Liverpool will want this title even more now that it's sort of been scuppered by coronavirus. And I think they will I think they will come out and really like trample over any team until they make sure that title is guaranteed. And they won't stop until it is absolute 100% certain, which obviously many of us have already considered it is. But it's not in the books yet. No. And I think Everton, it will be I think it's going to be a dirty game. Obviously, that derby builds off crowd and fiery attitudes and things like this. But I think Merseyside derbies are always a bit like that anyway. And I think Liverpool will sneak it. I think it's going to be a tough game, but I think they'll sneak it. And I'm going for a 2-1.
Yeah, I'm not going to sort of act shocked if anyone says Liverpool are going to win. Of course, they've got a better squad and they've got world class players. I just have a theory that they're not going to come out the blocks as quick as other teams will, just because the reality is that they already won it in everyone's minds. Yeah. But obviously, I could be completely wrong, and they come out faster and better and better than we've ever seen before this season. So. It's all to be seen. That's why it's so exciting.
Absolutely. Final game then of our first 12 matches of the Premier League's return. Manchester City versus Burnley. We finally get to Burnley, your team, Alex. Take us through. What? This is your first game. So what are you thinking?
Right. 4-0 Burnley. Ashley Barnes hat-trick. And Nick Pope scores a worldie from the halfway line. Thank you for watching the A to Z of Football Podcast. I'm joking. Right. Look, it's not an ideal game to come back into through lockdown away at Man City. We've had a pretty bad time, as have a lot of Premier League clubs there throughout our Premier League years. Although we are good at just grinding out draws, and I wouldn't put it past us to grab a draw, but I think City would have beaten Arsenal by that time. They'll be full of confidence, and I think they'll almost treat this game as a training match, because
Sure.
and they'll try and they'll play beautiful football and make us look like absolute mugs. So I hate to be pessimistic, but it's hard to be overly optimistic when you're away at a team that scores.
I'll tell you what. I'll be a bit more optimistic for you, okay? Because although I think Man City are going to beat Arsenal and they're going to beat Arsenal quite easily, I think they're going to come into this Burnley game, Burnley's first game back, and they're going to go, "Oh, Man City, Arsenal. Nah, we're not going to let them trample over us." Yeah. Bear in mind also that Nick Pope has the most clean sheets out of any goalkeeper this season.
That is true.
So
defensive record has been
I
brilliant.
think you're going to really, build a big brick Burnley wall, and you're going to sit back and you're going to hold them off, and Nick Pope's going to do his thing and keep you clean sheet. And I think Burnley are going to sneak a 1-0 win.
Oh, imagine the scene. Imagine the scene. I would love it. That would just be the perfect.
I think so. And I think Burnley probably consider themselves still in the Europe fight as well. And I think they'll go for it.
The thing is, we do. I don't want us to be. And this sounds obviously an awful thing to say, because obviously you always want to aspire for the best. But our board won't learn from last time. And that is just the way our board is. Like, all Burnley fans will get what I mean. We just don't invest when we need to. And if we did get back into Europe or whatever, which obviously it's not as it was there. Like back in the season that we did, we were 7th pretty much all season. It was never really in doubt. But this, obviously, there's a lot more competition. So we are. I think the perfect position for Burnley to finish is 8th. Just outside European spots, but obviously showing that we're now a fully established Premier League team and we can mix it with sort of the top 10. Yeah. I think I'm gonna. You know what? I love your positivity. Actually, I'm gonna do a total 180.
Okay.
1-0
go
Burnley.
On. Go on. Do it.
Ashley Barnes or Vidya. Vidya actually might score a worldie. Ashley Barnes might score a worldie. Chris Wood might pop up with one. Who knows? But go on, I'll back you. 1-0 Burnley.
Go on then. That's good.
I love it.
That's good. I like ending on a positive note, Alex. That's the point. You've got to end on a positive note. There you go, ladies and gents. We have gone through the first 12 fixtures of the Premier League's return. We have about 9 games left of the season. That's 27 points up for grabs for each team. And we're really excited to see who comes back strongest and who takes the chance and the opportunity to get those European spots and stop themselves from being relegated. We're really excited about it. It starts on Wednesday, the 17th of June, and we'll be watching every game, keeping track of every result, and we'll try and talk about some more fixtures when we do this next.
Yeah, exactly. Like this can now that Premier League's returning, we can do weekly reviews and previews, etc. Yeah. So that's really exciting for us to do. But for now, I've been Alex the A. You've been with Zach the
Z.
Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you've made it this far, please like, subscribe, comment with your thoughts, as always, and we'll see you next time in a bit.